Planet Earth. I find myself in an exceptionally humbling position that for the first time in mankind, one man can stand in quite honestly, a dumpy little studio in New York City, and his voice can be heard all around the world. Hear me carefully. Humans, we made a promise to each other, didn't we? To never forget. It is at this point in a monologue I could just say Hamas and Code Pink and those on the left are just anti-Semites. I could question their motives about policies. I could connect them to the White House. I'm not saying any of this now. What I am saying to you is we have all the conditions for millions of dead if we don't calmly and rationally fix reason firmly in her seat. This is pretty important, don't you think? Look at the cold, hard facts. These people are calling for the destruction of Israel and the killing of all Jews. They have a pretty good track record of doing those things. These guys, the same. And then you have the left in bed with them. And no one's concerned? Do I need to remind anyone what happened to the Jews in communist Russia or Poland? Do I need to remind anyone but Helen Thomas what happened to the Jews when communist and Islamic fascists get involved? Let's just take a look at quick history of Code Pink. They were instrumental in organizing the Freedom Flotilla that provoked a deadly confrontation with Israeli commandos. Remember that one? Oh, that was Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas in that one. They turned up on the Muslim Brotherhood's website. Here's their website. Do you have the ad? Yeah. Oh, here it is. And here's Code Pink. Here they are in Egypt. They're all worried about violence. You know, when they organize the flotilla. Quote, Hamas has pledged to ensure our safety. That's Code Pink. Hamas has pledged to ensure. Whoa, that's great. So they're working with the Muslim Brotherhood. They're in Egypt now, and they dig in Hamas. Muslim Brotherhood in recent days has promised to end the peace treaty with Israel. If they gain power, they told followers to prepare for war with all Jews. That's my theory. Since when is having a theory when you're trying to figure out what's going on a bad thing in America? And it's really less theory than it is facts in their own words. But, just in case, let me show you what my theory is. And I stand by it. Just everybody on the left, this is my theory. And I stand by every word of it. Groups from the hardcore socialist and communist left and extreme Islam will work together because of the common enemy of Israel and the Jews. I mean, do I have to remind you what happens to Jews under communism? Or how friendly they've been to Israel? Do I? Or how about the extreme Islam? Oh no, it's going to be good. Groups from the hardcore socialist left and extreme Islam and communism will work together because of the common enemy of capitalism and the Western way of life. It's not just capitalism, it's not the United States, it's your way of life in the West. And I stand by that. Groups from the hardcore socialist left and communism and extreme Islam will work together to overturn relative stability because in the status quo they are both ostracized from power and the mainstream in most parts of the world. That's here, I'll even put it up for you. Glenn's theory. There it is. Got it? That's it. And I stand by it. Is it so far-fetched, really? Should tell you something that the left has ramped up the spin machine so quickly on this one. Maybe it hits too close to home. Do you think?
The Muslim Brotherhood, great concern to a lot of people. They a threat to the USA.
I think that the Muslim Brotherhood is one faction in Egypt. They don't have majority support in Egypt. But they are well organized, and there are strains of their ideology that are anti-U.S. There's no doubt about it. But here's the thing that we have to understand. There are a whole bunch of secular folks in Egypt. There are a whole bunch of educators and civil society in Egypt that wants to come to the fore as well. And so it's important for us not to say that our only two options are either the Muslim Brotherhood or a suppressed
But you don't want the Muslim
Egyptian
Brotherhood.
people. What I want is a representative government in Egypt, and I have confidence that if Egypt moves in an orderly transition process, that we'll have a government in Egypt that we can work with together as a partner.
Those are tough boys, the Muslim Brotherhood. I wouldn't want them anywhere near that government.
I mean, we told you about social justice. It's a code word. Not every time you hear it, but you should question it every time you hear it, because it's a code word. Come from the Fabian Society, the communists, and the progressives here in America. It's really used mainly by those with an agenda or those who are just oblivious to what it really means, where the origins are from. Now, if that's the only evidence I had to support my theory, then it wouldn't be a very strong case, and I'd probably be off the air. That's why we've devoted this entire week of shows to diving deeper into this story, far deeper than the, oh so intellectual pro-anti-Mubarak demeaning news that they dumb down, because, I think most people just believe you're a simpleton who can't decide for themselves. If you did, caliphate is not some crazy conspiracy. It's what the Muslim Brotherhood talks about. In fact, let me show you this. I love this over here. Remember, Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. This is what they talked about. Caliphate. Hamas. Birthed by the Muslim Brotherhood. They talk about it. In fact, they've openly pined for a caliphate. After Hamas won sweeping Palestinian legislative elections in 2006, they declared it an important springboard towards the establishment of the caliphate. End quote. The Iran foreign minister said the anti-government protests in Egypt were a sign of an Islamic renaissance. Wait a minute, hang on just a second. The guys, are you telling me, Glenn, that the guys in Iran are saying they want a caliphate too? Yes, I am. But I'm just quoting them. Look it up. The Prime Minister of Turkey. The Prime Minister of Turkey belongs to an organization that wants to resurrect the caliphate. So the idea may be crazy. I think it's crazy. A global Islamic order. Yep, that sounds crazy. But don't shoot the messenger, because it's not my idea. It's their idea. It's not their idea. It's their written and stated goal. It's really funny. I remember back in '99 taking Osama bin Laden seriously, because I didn't have a horse in the race. I couldn't care about politics. I could care less. I cared about my country. And when he threatened to kill Americans in our own land, I read his words. And I said, this guy's not stupid. I think maybe we should read it. And we should take him at his word. Please don't let history repeat itself. They want a caliphate. And it's not just the Muslim Brotherhood or Hamas. There are several. And yes, the Sunni and the Shia, they do argue. They hate each other. But they'll sort that out after they kill everybody else they hate more. They are telling you these things. But anybody who mentions it is the crazy conspiracy theorist. Let me ask you, which is more crazy? Taking people who have already demonstrated that they can behead people in the name of God at their own words, or calling somebody crazy who is repeating their own words and showing you the videotape of what they want? Tariq Ramadan. Tariq Ramadan, he looks like a nice guy, isn't he? He is a professor of Islamic studies at the University of Oxford. It's great. Quite a lineage. His grandfather, founded the Muslim Brotherhood. Muslim Brotherhood gave birth to Hamas. The Muslim Brotherhood's goal is destroy and kill Israel and Jews. And Hamas is, they want to destroy Israel and kill all the Jews. But his grandfather founded the Muslim Brotherhood. And he was banned from the U.S. He was about to become a tenured professor at the University of Notre Dame, but he was banned from entering the U.S. in 2004 because, there were accusations that he was supporting the militant Palestinian group Hamas. It's a crazy idea. It is an idea that, you ready? To be a sworn enemy of capitalism does not mean you're a communist, a fascist, a religious fundamentalist, or indeed an anti-Semite. But it is something these otherwise disparate groups frequently have in common. Advocating a revolt against Western materialism on the basis of superior spiritual values is an old project. Yeah. I wouldn't need to come back to him, and I probably wouldn't bring him up if he was still banned from entering the United States. But no, he's not. Last January, President Obama and Hillary Clinton restored his visa, so he's free to come and go. Isn't that great? Just remember, Islamic socialism. This is why you see the left coming to the aid of the Islamic fascists. Because they're cool with socialism. Okay, sure, but they're not actually going to behead us. We're their friends. No, you're not.